No, the group is working hard, and we really like the makeup of the group. We think the pieces fit well together. We think their attitude has been really good. Our biggest challenge at this stage is it's almost like a first year again. 13 of our 20 guys on our roster are first-year players. So we'll have those growing challenges like we had last year. The biggest difference is, even though our seniors and our returners did a great job last year, just to have returning seniors that understand the expectations both culturally and from an X&O perspective have just made all the difference, because you have somebody modeling what exactly you want done on the floor. And these two guys and Just 5 have all done just a tremendous job of that. So we're ahead of where we were a year ago because of that.
And the numbers that you have out, that's the first thing people ask me, 21 players up. How has that helped you guys in practice? When I go in there, you pretty much have 3 teams going on a different basket. Is that somewhat of the model that you're looking for, of being able to get those teaching points across with 3 different teams almost?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different things. One is, just my background has always had larger teams, so just the way my used to structuring my practices helps with that. I do think there's a strong appeal to be a part of our program, and so I do think that we can have guys come in and have a year where they kind of learn what college basketball is all about, and redshirt and then be ready. So our goal is to move to more and more of a 4 and 5 year model as much as possible, and then be able to supplement transfers based on what our needs are. And so I think this allows us to have a competitive group this year and also have a group that's developing and getting ready for that. And there are certainly scenarios where you're trying to get reps, and it can slow you down a little bit because it's hard to get as many reps as you want. But there will be other times where we can manage workloads later in the year. Like as an example, last year these guys were having to be the scout team and then get the reps, and that was wearing them down physically during the week just so we could get enough reps in. Now we'll have a group dedicated to being the scout team all year long, and that will allow us to manage these guys' reps a lot more if they've had a really kind of a physical week where they're beat up or we've been on the road. So it does allow me more flexibility to kind of have more pieces, but the reps thing does become an issue.
Questions?
Yeah, how much more confident are you going into your second year opposed to the first year being on the job?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm confident in who we are and what we do, but there's always a sense of unknown that's very motivating for me. And I think every year as a head coach, you've always there's sort of that nervousness about the year, which I think fuels your passion for success. I hate losing, and so there's so many unknowns still about this group, how we'll come together, what the other pieces in the league are like trying to fill out the preseason poll. I had no idea, so there's always nervousness. But yes, there is the biggest thing about this year from last is you're just way more efficient. Like once you understand how a place works, you can just be more efficient in terms of how you do it. What our needs are for recruiting, we can be way more specific, so our time is more efficient there. Figuring out the forms at CMU and not screwing that up for paperwork has been way smoother and easier. So and just kind of having a sense of the coaches in the league and the styles of play, and being able to plan and prepare. Like as we've put in our defense, we've used different plays that the other teams ran against us last year, so that we can kind of get the team prepared, not only for the style of how we'll build the scouting report in practice, but also those specific actions that we know we're going to be facing later in the year. So it does allow us to get ahead and just be more efficient.
So, Tommy, I know there's a lot of new guys, but do you feel like it's kind of old home week for you and Jess, because half of Fresno is now here?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely good to have more people that I play with come here. It makes it easier to play with them. I've played with them for already a year, so it makes it easier. I mean, it's good on the court and off, just because I live with all 3 of them, all 4 of them as well. So it's just more comfortable, and I've already done it before, so yeah.
Is it more comfortable for you now, second year in the program, kind of understanding what is expected, and even though you do have 20 new guys that you like?
Definitely, yeah, just knowing exactly what he wants and being able to not only do it but teach the other freshmen and other people who don't really understand. It's definitely just that 1 year under my belt has definitely got me more used to it.
Point guard this year, or 1, 2, whatever?
Not sure yet. We'll see.
He's just making you play
Yeah, we're just focused on the defense right now.
What are you most excited about for your senior year?
You said, what am I most excited about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just last year, excited to get the season started, like you said, nervous, but also just really excited, just want to start the season already. Can't wait to play.
How different is this current team compared to last year's?
We're a lot bigger. I think we'll be able to play a lot faster and different play style. And, just the pieces we have, we're all kind of similar size, so we'll be able to play, interchange a lot. Won't really be oh, you have to play this one certain position. You can kind of, filter around, and I think that'll help us a lot.
Mike, you were here, you get used to one system, we've got another system coming in, now you feel settled finally?
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better. I've always switched a lot. I went to JUCO, so I had to learn new stuff there. And then the first year here, I had to learn, that stuff was all new to me. So then when Coach DeGeorge came, that was new again. But yeah, so being in the same thing for 2 years is nice. It's really helpful to just help me grow, learn it, and figure it out as I go.
Early on, with all the new guys coming in, you guys gel pretty well before even the season started?
Yeah, I think we all do gel very well. And Tommy and all the Fresno guys were all JUCO guys, I know I was. And I think that's helped us a lot too, because pretty much every year there you're getting a new team. So when we got a new team here, we kind of knew how to deal with that and how to act about that and go about that process.
So who's one guy on the roster you think will kind of surprise some people and really stand out? Besides Tommy.
All right. Well, I think the first thing people will notice is that all three of our seniors, their growth as players. And so Tommy and Mike have both really worked hard on their shooting and have improved dramatically, not only to be a slashing threat, but ready to knock those open jump shots down, which just adds another element to their ability to get to the paint. It's going to be so much harder for teams to keep them out of there because they are a threat. And then Jeff Spivey, growth and has been dramatic. He just really has a full understanding of how to play within our style of play now. And his numbers have been really off the charts in practice so far. And he's just been really sound defensively. And so I think the first thing is those guys have really worked hard and grown. And then, obviously we have a group of transfers, and, Georgie DeAnswer will stand out for guys. He's a talent, and he'll be a very successful player, we think, at our level. And I think the next thing is just our depth. We really feel like we have more depth this year and a little more multidimensional. We had guys that had very specific strengths last year, and in games where they could utilize those strengths, they had big numbers. And then there were other games where maybe the matchup or the defense didn't fit their style of play, and then they didn't play as large a role. And this year, this group is way more multidimensional. So I think that it'll make it harder for teams to scout us.
Do you know about how many guys you might redshirt, or you just kind of?
We're working on that now. The first year guys we can play, or the freshmen we can play in the 2 scrimmages we have coming up, and we're kind of working through that. We've had pretty much by the end of this week we'll have had a discussion with everybody and on the possibilities of that. So we're moving in that direction, and and I think in the coach's mind it's been pretty clear who our top 10 are. And so that's, when you have a clear differentiation, that really helps everybody, I think, if they can see the logic behind what you're doing. So,
Tommy, does it help obviously with size, that will help your game, but when coaches look, okay, they got this guy back, they got this guy back, kind of help you free some things up to have some size and a little more balance on this team?
Yeah, I think like Coach was saying, it's just going to make it harder to scout us. So teams might try to scout us the same as they did last year, but I don't think it will work the same because we just have different elements, different players on the floor. So it'd just be harder. Everyone can do not only one thing, but maybe 2 or 3 good things well. So it's just going to be hard to scout us.
Especially early because they don't know any of these guys.
Exactly, yeah.
Has it been on the floor a pretty easy transition with the new guys coming in?
Yeah.
Not Fresno guys that you don't know, or?
No, yeah, they all, especially the freshmen, yeah, they worked really hard at just trying to understand and get better, If they do something wrong and we tell them, they at least listen, You could tell that they're trying to do it right. So that's a good sign.
Being a senior and a leader on the team, how excited are you to talk to the media more this season?
I love the media, so I'm always willing to get out here whenever you guys need me.